Test 1, 2. All right. Welcome everybody and all those that are going to join us while we're talking here. This is the 2 o'clock Learning Lab from Board Retailers Association. I want to introduce this great panel that we have up here. I have Dan Jablons from Retail Smart Guys. I have Bill Ennis from Dig Paddle Sports. He's also one of our board members at Board Retailers Association. I have Joel Stanley from Outdoor Jobs. He's going to be here talking on his expertise of what he's learned in this industry. And then I have my executive director, Doug Works, is down on the corner over here. And we're going to all talk on some great topics today, cover a lot of ground. So pay attention, and we're going to go over many topics. I know that we are in booth 260, and just to let you guys know that don't know, Board Retailers Association is a nonprofit, been in business over 20 years, and we are here to help independent retailers survive in business. We provide a lot of education, we provide a lot of associate members that offer discounts in insurance, in retail programs, in hiring and firing, and all sorts of different topics to help you survive in business. So check out boardretailers.org or come by our booth at booth 260. And Doug over here is going to let you know that we got some giveaways. If you guys sign up on the site while we're here, you get a chance to win some good prizes. So he's going to let you know about that now.
Thanks, George. And thank you to Skull Candy, who has provided a number of speakers and headphones and earbuds and all kinds of amazing audio for us to give away here at the Retailer Roundtable and at our booth. Skull Candy also has a happy hour happening at 5 p.m. in their booth, 839, so be sure to check that out. We're also giving away a shop-branded fingerboard, courtesy of Roll Around Workshop, at the end of this to one lucky retail member. And you can opt into our free retail membership by scanning that QR code and opting in while you're enjoying this panel discussion.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to jump right into this, and you know, we just got done with our back to school season, and you know, it's funny because people used to come flocking in here in early July and late June and buy back to school, and then it seems to me that a lot of people are waiting till the last minute to buy their back to school clothing and such, and everybody's being a little bit more conservative about that. But we want to take a look at the industry as a whole and see what the experience has been in the last several months, and we're going to go into a look forward to the next several months. And I'll start with you, Dan, who's got a lot of expertise. He deals with a lot of retailers around the country in all sorts of different industries, and he's got his hand on the pulse of the economy here.
Well, I would tell you this, the thing about back to school this year was that it was sort of, there were a lot of distractions happening, right? The Olympics was definitely a distraction for a lot of people, and you may have noticed we're sort of in an election year. And it's going to be a quiet one, don't you think? It's going to be a quiet election, not a lot's going to happen. It's just going to be sort of a bunch of guys just talking about the issues. That's going to be it, don't you think? I think the thing is that, especially as we head into the fourth quarter now, the guys that were winning both at back to school and the guys that will continue to win are the guys that are doing something that's actually doing something to educate and excite their customers. It's not business as usual. It's not just throw the doors open, let people pour in. You've got to be more clever about your marketing. You've got to be more clever about your assortment. And your floor has to change on a regular basis so the customer feels like they have to come back on a regular basis to see what's going on. It's critical to the success of your store that you're constantly doing stuff to surprise and entice your customers. That was true for back to school. The guys that did a good job of that had a great back to school. The guys that were just open, they had a rough time. So we have to do more to get people excited and attracted to the store. And the more that we can do it that way, you know, do lots of video, do lots of social media for sure. Email marketing is still the #1 way to get people into the door. So I think you want to hit that one pretty hard. There's a lot you can do to drive traffic, but you can't sit back. You're going to have to be ahead of it all the time.
Yeah, I've always said that, you know, giving just good customer service doesn't cut it anymore. You got to give the most exemplary customer service where the person walks out the door and says, I don't want to buy from any place else but here. So you befriend your customers and you listen to them and accommodate them on what they're looking for and give them extra customer service so that they walk out the door saying, man, this place really took care of me and I don't really want to go anywhere else. So you try to work that out. So Bill, I know you're in Utah and you have your own specialty, you know, with stand-up paddle and a lot of outdoor things and that nature, and you do rentals and all and lessons and things like that. So how did you experience the last several months?
Oh, it's been an experience, that's for sure. And I'm gonna try not to blind anybody, but the cap's bugging me, so here we go. Sorry guys, I'm sorry. My wife Michelle's here with me today, and she and I work the business together. We've run it for 15 years. Every year is unique. This was no different in its own special ways, but we've seen a flood of, I want to say we've seen a flood of low quality equipment. We've seen a flood of lots of really great equipment on the market this year. That's tough for a retail sale. Our primary business, I'd say 80-85% of our business is actually experiential. So we do rentals, we do on-site rentals at a lake in Utah, and we do tours and lessons, as you mentioned. Something that we've done in years past on a kind of a low frequency tempo has been concerts. And it just so happens that the only concerts we really host are concerts that people have to paddle out to get to. I've got a friend with a pontoon boat who partners with us, and we put bands on that boat. And in order to participate as a spectator, you have to have a wristband. We block off a cove. We make it so people have to rent stuff from us to go hear the concert, right? Or at least they need to, if they've got their own equipment, and more people have their own equipment that they're purchasing from a variety of locations, we're giving them a reason to come to our shop. We're giving them a reason to come out and share in this paddling experience that, as you say, we can't have the same band playing every week or else nobody will come. So this year we've increased that tempo. I think we've done maybe 8-9 concerts already. We've got another one in a week and a half. Excuse me, a week and a half. And we have a kind of a season closeout at the end of the month. We've also gotten back into, years ago we did, and we stopped doing stand-up paddleboarding events because they were relatively low attended, poorly attended. But this year we're doing, in combination with the concert, we've got I don't know if I mentioned, we opened up a food truck. We've got a great menu, and so we've got a lot to offer somebody that comes to our location now that we didn't 5 or 10 years ago. And 5 or 10 years ago, I didn't think we needed it. I don't think we didn't need it. We were just flush with customers. So we've had to be creative about how we're approaching the customer experience. And no joke, guys, I've been walking the floor. I just bought 6 ukuleles down the hall here. So we're gonna get into music. I didn't think about that coming to Surf Expo. Can't wait to buy me some ukuleles, but that's what we're doing. It's another way for us to engage people creatively in the outdoors and round out that outdoor experience and give people an opportunity to express themselves and to feel like they're part of a community which we're actively building.
It sounds like you're really putting the special in specialty, you know, adding what you can to make it different and unique from other experiences. So, Joel, I know you deal with the outdoor industry jobs, and you probably got your hand on the pulse of people looking for work and people looking for workers.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's currently favoring the worker as it goes. It's sort of hard for specialty retail to find and retain the talent, but what he's saying right here about making it a different experience is definitely something that goes both ways, because it's not just about the experience for your customers, but if you make that kind of a working environment, you're doing those kinds of things, I think that it probably helps you retain your employees as well. And I think that the average cost to replace an employee was somewhere around $3,300. And so it's really important that you don't have to replace all of your employees all the time, and that if you find somebody good, that you keep them on hand.
Yeah, that's true. You want to it's really hard to find good employees, and it's once you get them, it's hard to keep them. So, Doug, I know you talk to each of the retail stores throughout the year, so you got your hand on the pulse of what our members are doing. I know we've had a little attrition with some people going out of business, and that's going to happen in any industry, people coming and going. But what have you seen in the last few months?
Well, I mean, it's an election year, and what happens in every election year, if you look historically, is an ebb. You know, there will be times of contraction because there's times of indecision, and I know that Dan has a learning lab about that very thing. But we have definitely seen skate shops, surf shops, some snow shops really having a hard time in 2024. The ones that seem to have the hardest times are the ones that don't implement that experiential retail. And I think that really is the key to create something remarkable, something that your customers and your employees, to Joel's point there, can actually talk about, remark about. There's a famous author, Sept, that has a ton of marketing books. He says if you're not remarkable, you're invisible.
You know, can I just chime in on that? It's a crazy thing. Now, you have to sell the job more than anything else. You've got to convince people that it's great to work there. And I did, a couple of years ago, I was asked to do an educational seminar about millennials and Generation Z, right? And I was like, is there any other topic that I could do? But they had me do it, right? So I did it. And what I learned was that those guys, when you want to hire them, they want to feel like they're going to get a life skill, right? So we changed our philosophy on it. We said, listen, in any economy, if there's a good economy or a bad economy, the one job that's always out there are sales jobs, right? So if I can teach you how to sell on the floor of a retail store and you get good at it, I pretty much have guaranteed your revenue for the rest of your life. So you have to make the job a little bit more than what it is, I think. And you've got, to your point about it being experiential, but you have to sell it now. You have to convince them that this is something that's important for them to do, not only now, but to develop that life skill that's going to follow them throughout their whole life. It's a real change in the paradigm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just following up on that, underlined on my little note cards right here are two words: sell yourself. Because one thing that I see from people that are putting in job ads is that they just don't put in time to the job ad. You'll have a place that is probably great to work, but then the actual job ad is just a paragraph that's poorly put together that doesn't even tell you what the pay range is, doesn't tell you what the benefits are, doesn't even tell you what it's like to work there. And that's not going to do a very good job of attracting the best candidates.
Got to sell it.
Yeah. Having the benefits is one thing, but putting it out there, putting quality time into the job ad, having a defined interview process, all that stuff goes a long way in terms of attracting the right people.
Yeah, I know. I have a big indoor skate park. It's actually the third largest indoor skate park in America, over an acre of Ramsey Indoor. And I hire a lot of young people, and I like hiring young people because they're going to be around for a while. They're also living at home, so they don't need a high pay to survive. You know, they're not buying a house. You know, their car's probably put together with stickers. You know, so and they enjoy what we do at Modern. You know, you can come skate, whether it's rollerblade or skateboard, or even the little kids with scooters and such. And so when we do the hiring, when I explain what the job is about, I don't just say, hey, you know, you got to sell all this stuff and make me money. I say, you know, you're going to learn life lessons, just as Dan was talking about. I'm going to teach you how to retain information and then convey it to other people, and that way you'll learn how to sell yourself. So down the road, you're going to learn a lot of life lessons. So they look at the job more than, oh, geez, I got to go to work. You know, you look at the job as it's a learning experience for them, and they can continue to grow and learn about life in general while they're working at your store. Like, I just lost a couple of guys that went off to college out of town. You know, I told them to quit and just work for me and drop out of school, but they didn't listen to me. But no, I obviously education is the important thing. But we do get a lot of young kids in there, and the beauty is that they're going to be there for several years before they do move out of town, get a job, get married, start a family, that kind of thing, where they're going to need a higher income than working perhaps at a skate shop. So it's important to describe your job to make it interesting to them. So with that, we were talking about, getting through back to school. A lot of people are still purging heavy inventory and leftover stuff, but we've gotten through, I personally have gotten through a lot of it in the last year. There's something to go though. And we're looking forward to the holidays, because if it wasn't for Christmas, there'd be no sense being in retail. I say all the time, you break even for 11 months out of the year, and then you make hay in December, and that's going to make or break your year pretty much. So, and a lot of it's weather dependent. For me, up in Michigan, if it snows, I'm a genius. If it doesn't snow, I'm a schmuck, and I owe people money. So, because I sell snowboards in the wintertime, in winter clothing and such. And it's been getting so warm lately, I say, with this global warming, I said, if we wait this thing out, Michigan's going to be like Florida, and we're going to be golfing on Christmas Day. But hopefully, the earth will align itself again, and we'll get our regular snows that we're used to up there, and do our winter business and such. But, looking ahead to the holidays, Dan, what's your feeling about what's up and coming?
Well, here's the thing. We talked a little bit already about it being an election year, right? So people are going to get a little distracted by events here in October, beginning of November. But I think what's going to happen is about a week after the election is done, the people who like the candidate who won are going to be out celebrating, they'll be shopping, and the people whose candidate didn't make it are going to need some retail therapy, and they're going to be out shopping. So I think you're going to see, and it's going to be, don't lose your mind in October and the beginning of November when you feel like the world's going to come to an end. It's not. It's going to bounce back, and I think we're going to have a super strong November and an amazing strong December. That said, there is no better marketing for a retail store than having the right inventory, right? So making sure that you've got the right inventory on the shelf at the right time, you've got a constant, consistent flow of new goods coming in on a regular basis is how you drive traffic to a retail store. So you've got to make sure that you're prepared for that now, and you're thinking about that now. And the other thing, the one last thing I'll say about this is that, even if you're sitting on old inventory and you're thinking, I got to blow all this stuff out, and you do, I like to think about promotions in a particular way. I'm going to put something on sale, but if I'm going to put that thing on sale, I'm not a big fan of the whole store 30 off or something like that. I think that's just a losing proposition for you. I like to put an area on sale, and then I like to figure out, if I put that thing on sale, and that's what's going to bring them in, what am I going to add on at full price that's going to pay for that markdown, right? So you got to think strategically about all of these promotions that you do. What am I putting on sale, and then what am I going to sell at full price as an add-on to that to try to get back the markdown dollars I'm spending. But I'm actually pretty excited about holiday. I think it's going to be a weird October and beginning of November, and then it's just going to explode.
And then Bill, for you, is it seasonal for you? And give us a little explanation of how it works in your end of the woods.
Yeah, it is. We're actually in the very northeast corner of the Mojave Desert, so you can imagine that December, January, February, they're cold months, but our water doesn't freeze, but our water gets to about 40 degrees, and we don't have, unlike people that, here in Florida, we're in a different universe here in Florida in terms of paddle sport and board sports than we are in Utah. Northern Utah, we're talking about skiing and snowboarding, no problem, but southern Utah, it's a lot more like Vegas than it is Montana. So we actually started the first paddle shop in county history. You couldn't rent a paddleboard or kayak from anyone 15, 20 years ago until we opened up our shop. And so we've been cutting our teeth as we've been trying to share culture and build culture. And as we get into the winter months, we've transitioned a little bit, in large part due to an event that's held here in Florida every year down in Miami called Miami Ultra Skate, where people are doing a 24-hour distance skate around a NASCAR speedway. In fact, I've got Ron Lewis here originally from Florida. I met him there 2 years ago. I just ran into him on the floor half an hour ago, and so making friends in Florida, it works on four wheels just like it does in Utah on a kayak. But I love that about being in this industry, is that I consider Ron to be my friend. He totally different career path, but we met on the speedway, rolling around for 24 hours, bleeding our eyeballs out, and now we're friends. And so we were just talking about events that Michelle and I are hosting back home, and we're starting to do distance skateboarding events, distance longboarding events, and that's something that we picked up from other people in the industry here in Florida. So so no, we don't have a robust, fourth quarter, early first quarter. Our business picks up again in March as the weather warms up, and so we're planning, like we're starting to calendar now for concerts that we're holding next year, for events that we're holding next year. I want to mention something about events too. Is that one thing we've discovered is that oftentimes hosting an event it's a great opportunity to get eyes on your shop. Whether the event itself as a line item is profitable or not might be questionable, but leveraging social media and the play that we can get through extended social media reach is pretty valuable. So there's worth there. But we've also seen that it can be just as valuable, if not more valuable, to find other events in the local region, in a broader region, even travel to go support another event. Let's say as an exhibitor, as a service provider, we get more reach, we get out of our, we get to travel a little bit. That's enjoyable. It's great for the employees that come along. They're stoked about it. They get to travel with the crew. And in fact, so we'll be going in November. We go down to Parker, Arizona, just south of Lake Havasu. There's a race called Another Dam Race that we've been supporting for about 5-6 years. And it's a 2-day event, and we get Olympic level paddlers that come out, actual former Olympians come out. And no joke, I mean, little old ladies that are buying kayaks from the big box mart down the street are out putting along next to these high performing athletes. And it's a blast. The food's good, the music's great, and the camaraderie is incredible. And so we really love building community. We like having fun. I don't want to be in a business that isn't fun. And this business is fun when you really, you try to make it fun. It doesn't take much effort to make it that way. And so we've poured our creativity into it, and we've seen good results from that. That's where we're going to keep going.
Excellent. And Joel, like, are people starting early looking for new help for the holidays? I know that we always end up getting a couple extra people for the holidays, assuming the business is going to pick up for Christmas. Are people starting early, or do you think they wait till November to start looking?
I think it's more of a waiting game, particularly in specialty retail. But on the note, the thing that I'll say to me that's most important about that is if you're going to be doing seasonal hiring, there are 2 key things to me, and that's streamlining your operations and streamlining your onboarding process. I think that a lot of times people just go into it and they don't really think about it. It's like, let's just get these people on board. It'll figure itself out. And ultimately, to start with the operations, making the job easy for someone to walk in and be able to do it on day 1, 2, or 3. And then the second thing is having actual onboarding materials for employees. It's important for regular hiring too, because if somebody comes in and understands their job immediately, they're more likely to stick around. But for the seasonal hires especially, it's really important to have dialed in materials so that people know exactly what they're doing when they get there, and to have multiple people within your organization managing the process as well.
But you got to, the other thing I say about that, because we see a lot of that too, the thing about seasonal hires is it's an easy thing to throw away. But you got to make sure that you put together some kind of training program for these guys, so when they get on the floor, they can hit the ground running and they know what to do. Just because they're outgoing and willing doesn't mean that they know how to talk to your customer. It doesn't mean they understand the culture of your store. It doesn't mean they understand, what the products are. So giving them a little bit of a chance to learn, get some product knowledge, and teaching them actually how to sell. There is a definite technique for learning how to sell on the floor of a retail store. And you can't just go, well, follow Bob, he knows what he's doing, right? Because all that's going to happen is they're going to pick up every bad habit Bob has, as opposed to learning really how to sell. You want to make sure you teach them that so that you get the most, you squeeze the most out of any seasonal hire that you make.
Yeah, you can also, like when I was in college, when I came home for Christmas break, I had the same job all 4 years. It was a bank teller, not exactly specialty retail, but they didn't have to retrain me every time, right? So if you can find people with creative life situations where they're going to be available each season for a period of time, then you don't have to retrain them, and that's perfect. And
I thought you were still in college. You're not still down, no?
No, but I am a millennial.
I would have thought for sure.
And I know when I look to hire somebody, if we're looking for somebody on the sales floor, of course, I always said I would rather hire a good salesman and teach them how to skateboard than hire a really good skateboarder and teach them how to sell. Because it's two different things. And same with any industry. Even if they don't surf and you're out in California, you can teach them about surfing and how to sell surfing, but there's a certain personality that has the ability to sell. And I know, Doug, you've been involved in retail, you've also been involved in the wholesale end of it, and you've run a skate park before. So you've been in just about every different aspect. You've taught people about negotiating retail leases and such in this industry. Your feeling about the upcoming holiday season and the topics we're covering.
Thanks, George. I would echo a lot of what Dan said. I mean, we're going to have a tough October, November, early November, but people are going to be relieved. Consumers are going to be relieved, and as long as you hire and train the right people for the holidays, it's going to be a robust holiday. I believe that shops that are struggling right now will do well. The key, of course, is to curate the right inventory and to convey what you have to your audience. And you can do that a lot of different ways. I won't go deep into it, but stop posting still stagnant images of product on your Instagram feed. Do post video of it. Do post product reviews from your employees. Do post remarkable videos that show past events to get people excited about future events. Think about your audience as an extension of what everybody wants to do.
Yeah, I've told my guys, my employees also help run the Instagram and Facebook and such, and I require them to post at least 3 times a day. I said, I don't really care what it is, as long as they post 3 times a day. And to Doug's point, videos get a lot more views than still shots of a shoot. So I say if the new Nyjah shoe comes out, you post a video of Nyjah doing some crazy trick that he can do, and then the second picture is a still shot of the shoe, rather than the still shot of the shoe going, hey, we got this new shoe, because people are going to be leaping right past that. And but when they see an action video of somebody, let's say it's you're out in California and it's a surfboard, and you do a quick video of some guy just surfing a wave and doing a big splashback, and then the next thing is the shorts he's wearing or something like that. So it'll draw more attention, and then in your text, toward the top of the text, because you're not going to read 5 paragraphs. In the top of the text, you're saying, hey, go to our link in the profile and click on our site and buy this short, that kind of thing.
Let me sneak in one more thing about that. I've been telling this to stores for a little while now, because sometimes people think when they talk about video for the store that they got to do some Steven Spielberg music up, fade in, amazing dramatic thing. It's the more raw it is, the better. And so what we tell stores to do is, let's say you have 3 employees, okay? You tell those 3 employees when they come back from lunch, right after they clock in, grab your phone, do a quick 1-minute video of something you like in the store and why you like it. If you had 3 employees that did that for 5 days in a row, you finished the week with 15 videos. Now 5 of them are going to be awful, right? Weird or something, they're going to use bad language or something like that, but you'll have 10 that you can actually use. And if you did that a whole month, you'd have enough video, because here's the thing about video, right? We all post them on social media, it's important, but the number 1 search engine, of course, is Google. What's the number 2 search engine? YouTube is the right answer, okay? There you go, give her a prize. So if YouTube is the number 2 search engine, and you want to be found, you want to put a bunch of video, you want to create a channel for your store on YouTube, dump all your videos in there, make sure they're properly hashtagged, and you'll get a bunch of traffic to your site. And it's easy. They all got phones, and they're all taking video all the time, anytime, right? So just get them to do a quick one of your store every day for the whole week that they're working there. Might have more video to do with.
Plus, when you do that, you're actually empowering your employees, which will equal retention.
Sure. And your customers want to know what your employees are into, right? They come to especially retail because they want to know what you guys think is cool. So to the degree that you make a video of what you think is cool, is to the degree that you're going to actually draw more customers to the store.
All right, that's some good topics. Now, also too, there's a lot of new vendors in this hall here. One thing I like about going to trade shows is, I've always said that this industry is about personal relationships. And one of the reasons I've succeeded in business, and this, I just celebrated my 45th year last weekend in business, which means I'm old. And and I said, nobody will hire me now, so I got to keep this job. But one of the reasons I am successful is I've been coming to these shows, and a lot of the guys that were kids back in the 80s now own the dang company, and I have relationships with them, so they help protect some of my territory to an extent, and I may get that break if, like, I have a lot of leftover product and I give them a call and say, geez, can you help me move this product? I'll give you 10, 20% off, you know, on the next shipment. You know, we'll figure out what we can give you a credit for, and then instead of me sending it all back, I move it at a discount and still maintain some margins. There's things like that that you can foster by meeting these new people. And what you've probably seen, for those of you that have been here a lot, I've been coming to Surf Expo over 30 years, and what you can see in here is there's a lot of newer vendors coming all the time, and you never know who's going to be the next big thing. I know Stan Socks started at skate shops, and now when you watch the NBA, all the socks those guys are wearing in the NBA, they're all Stan Socks. They make the socks for them. They got NFL licensed stuff, all the different sports, the different movies, the different characters. They've got all these licenses for them, and they started in skate shops. One of our panel members this morning, Skull Candy, started in skate shops, and just with a little logo and a headphone, because all the kids were starting to put things in their ears and listen to music a little bit differently than we did back in the day with our cassette players that were strapped to our chests and all, and with the different headphones sticking in your ear that hurt you. But you know, so the key is, you know, what we're looking for is, like, is there any products that you guys have seen, you know, not just here, but like in the industry in general, that are like up and comers or might be the new cool thing? I can tell you right now, from my standpoint, I was amazed about fingerboards. And I thought fingerboards, you know, I sold these little Tony Hawk keychain things for like $1 or $2, and that's what I thought fingerboards were. And then this one kid in town, he's not really a kid, he's probably 30, and he's a kid to me, but he's like, I want to do a fingerboard tournament at your skate park, and we got a lot of space there, so I'm like, yeah, let's do it, you know, what the heck. And 175 kids showed up. They had 10 different fingerboard courses, and 75 kids joined the contest. I haven't had 75 kids in a real skateboard contest in a decade, and because everybody doesn't want to compete because they're afraid to lose or whatever. But the fingerboard kids were all there, and they had vendors there. They had a bunch of tables and stuff, and I was blown away by how many people were into that. So we started making fingerboards from one of our associate partners, Roll Around Workshop. So every time I did a modern skate graphic on a skateboard, which is our shop deck, and we started doing a fingerboard that matched the graphic on our thing, and we started selling those. And I asked my manager, I said, how much are we selling those for? And he says, $40. And I think, oh my God, who's going to pay $40 for that thing? They said, you don't understand. Tech Decks Pro Completes, the little bitty things, start at $90. And right now we sell fingerboard trucks for $60 a pair. They're more than real skateboard trucks. We sell fingerboard wheels for $50, which is more than real skateboard wheels. It's unbelievable, and the kids are totally into it. And we sell this ramp line called Black River out of Germany, and they're hundreds of dollars for this model little wood ramp and stuff, and the kids buy them like water. And it's a new category that I ran across that happened to be good. And if anything, you don't have to be totally into it like we've gotten into it, but even if you want to brand your store with like a fingerboard with your brand on it and give it away, I tell you what, people are going to remember that versus like a business card. So any things that you guys have seen within the industry that maybe caught your eye, that might you might think might be an up and coming thing?
I'm stoked about the glow-in-the-dark ukuleles that are coming next week. So, right down this pathway, guys, on the right.
Which makes it unique.
It's crazy. But I also think fingerboards. I just thought you're nuts, George, fingerboards. But then you start talking about the dollar amounts, and I'm thinking, George is a genius. George is an absolute genius, and there's 20 people right here that are about to go out and look up fingerboards.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong business. That being said, this was an outdoor retailer, but I did happen to see this pretty cool thing. I do some climbing, and the chalkless climbing grip that they had there, where it's like a silica thing that you pour onto your hand, rub it together. You can't even see it when you're putting it on your hand. And then they can take a drop of water and put it on your hand. And I have very sweaty palms since elementary school. And nonetheless, you could shake the drop of water around your hand. And then they had a thing where you could test your grip strength before and after. And it was like doubling it, basically. Pretty incredible.
Wow, that's great. Innovation is good.
Well, and speaking of innovation, I'm a big fan of innovation. What we're seeing now is that people are changing prints at their stores, like printed t-shirts are changing all the time. Every month there's a new assortment of prints coming out. It's amazing. And the one thing I think can't kill in this business is the hat business. Right there. Okay, look around here. I actually have a client, he called me up and he said, "You'll be proud of me. I cleaned out my hat closet." And first I went, "You have an actual hat closet? Like there's a closet dedicated just to the hats?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, I cleaned out a bunch and I'm down to 36 hats. Can't believe I'm so proud of you. It must have been a huge garage sale. But the hat business in this business is amazing, but you've got to be selective about it. It's got to change. And if hats are a fashion thing, that has to rotate every single month. So the staples in this business are still the staples, but you can't just get complacent and buy the same thing over and over again. You got to keep bringing something new and different, exciting and fun. And that's the key. That's the key to getting return traffic. They got to always see what's happening in your store.
I've seen two trends that are interesting and positive. One is bigger skateboards. You've got little tiny kids that are super small riding massive boards with 215 trucks and that type of thing. It's like riding a coffee table, right? So the idea is to get them on that board if they really, really want that big coffee table floater board, but also to get the right board for the right size and enable them to have a quiver of skateboards, right? Secondly, what's your best brand in your shop? What's your best brand? Anybody? Best brand? Your shop should be your best brand. Private label is an opportunity for you to showcase, it can be a marketing expense even, showcase your shop and your creativity behind your shop and make a bigger margin on it. So we're all for shop branded. We have a number of shop branded solutions that are supporting vendor partners of Board Retailers Association. So see me afterwards, visit Booth 260, and we're absolutely happy to make some introductions to connect the dots on that front.
Just out of curiosity, do you involve your employees in the design process?
I don't see why not. I mean, obviously it depends on what the employee's capacity is and everything else, but when it comes from the employee, that could empower even more and create retention, and also they're going to want to sell it like nothing else in there, and they'll upsell and cross-sell.
Tell their friends.
We've had stores that did that as competitions either amongst employees, sometimes amongst their customers, where they go, "We're looking for a new graphic for a t-shirt or a hat, and can you submit your design. If your design works, then we'll do it. We'll put your name on it." I've had other stores that go to Fiverr. You guys know Fiverr.com? And they went there and they just said, "Listen, we need a new graphic." And for $5, they got amazing graphics that they're still utilizing today. So there's a lot of ways to make that happen. And I think that you just have to be creative about it and make it fun and make it an event. Like you were talking about in-store events. That's another great event. It's like an art show for people that are going to do artwork about our brand, our store. It's a great way to drive people to the store.
Yeah, and when it comes to, we were talking about hiring employees and such, and maybe some incentives to, how to make them, keep them happy, we're not in the tech business, and we're not in the, even though I'm from Detroit, we're not in the motor business. So the wages may not be the highest, but they're also creeping up. So when the grocery store across the street's hiring store stackers for $18 an hour, and so we have to creep our hourly price up a bit. But one of the things we do for incentives for employees is we give out the name of my store is Modern Skate and Surf. we give out modern bucks. So if you make a $500 sale, you get a $10 modern buck. Or if you get a 5-star review online, you get modern bucks, and you can save them all up. You're not only getting discounts on products because you work here, but you're able to get free money to help even keep that lower to you, so you can keep your interest in these sports that we do. And what you're doing is you're recognizing your employee for doing a good job. And one of the things we talked about in the past is when it comes to criticizing employees and then complimenting employees, it's, my rule is compliment in public and criticize in private. You don't yell at an employee in front of everybody else and make him feel like crap. But if you do want to compliment them about doing a good job, you compliment them in front of everybody else because they feel good, and then everybody else goes, "Hey, he got complimented. I'm going to try to get that," you know. And if you have to discipline an employee or else talk about something they did wrong, you say, "Hey, let me talk to you for a second." You bring them in the back room, and it's a one-on-one, and you say, "Look, you know, what did you do wrong?" Or "This is what you did wrong, and how can we correct that and work on it that way," instead of criticizing in public. Now, I have to admit, when I first started many years ago, I used to do that a lot. And it's one thing that I learned over the years, that it doesn't work, you know, yelling at employees in front of everybody. And it surprises me when some pretty successful business people are real jerks to their employees. I'm like, you know, those are the people that make you a living, you know. And then you impress upon them to treat others like you'd want to be treated. So you, like we were talking about earlier, you treat your customers very well. And then I hear about some parents coming in going, "Yeah, I went to this other skate shop and they were just talking down to me because I didn't know anything about it." And I'm like, who would ever talk down to their customers, man? They're the ones that keep you in business. So it's all about being nice to everybody. And like I said, you still have to address what the proper way to run the business is to your employees. And as Joel was talking about, proper training, you know, have a structure to your business. And you can be laid back view to the public, but a structured business in the background and how it operates. So,
yeah, to your point about the complimenting thing, it doesn't just have to be in front of the other employees. You can put it on a newsletter, you can put it on your social media, you can put it on your website. It's just a totally good look if you're recognizing people. I saw a stat that said something like 88% of people want to feel appreciated if they do a good job, and only 36% of people feel that necessarily needs to be money. There are a lot of low-cost, no-cost ways to give benefits to employees, and just telling them that they did a good job publicly is definitely one of them.
and Bill, I bet you got some great opportunities to make your employees happy because you're in such a fun business, you know.
We go bowling. True story. We rent out. It's a kind of private section of a bowling complex that we do it once a season. But we've got 4 lanes in a room, and buy everybody pizza and chicken wings, and do some recognition. And honestly, yeah, you can look at it as an expense. It's not a no-cost expense, but the cost of bowling for 2 hours to do some team building off-site. You talk about having a laid-back presentation up front with structure on the back end. We have a lot of structure, and we put together a lot of. We've systematized our training. Of course, there are improvements we can make, but one thing that happens at the lake is, day in and day out of working ends up being work, right? So it's easy to decompress if we can get away from the environment a little bit, even if it's just for a night. We notice right away there's a sense of greater camaraderie among the crew, and they do seem to feel a little bit more relaxed about being at work. Not relaxed in their level of service that they're giving our guests, our customers, but a little more at ease at work. And so that's fun. In the past, we've done group paddle outs. Of course, we give everybody the opportunity to. We actually have a membership where a consumer can come in and pay a relatively small dollar amount on a monthly basis or an annual basis, and they can go out and paddle our equipment 4 hours a day, any day of the week, any day of the year. Our employees get that as part of a low-key incentive package. For us, costs us not one more penny than it does just to be open, which we're doing anyway. So we give them an opportunity to come in their off time, and oftentimes they're shooting video and taking stills and putting that out on social media on their own time, promoting our business organically because they enjoy the activity. To the point about, you mentioned something earlier about rather hiring somebody that's a great salesperson, teaching them how to skate versus taking a great skateboarder and trying to teach them how to sell. We found something very similar to that, when we have people that, when we find good people, those are the people that we want to work with. We can teach anyone how to be a better paddler. No, I can't teach somebody how to be a ICF, world champion, but I can teach somebody how to be a champion to another human being. I can teach someone how to relate to another human being in a nuanced way if they already have that mindset. If they're already easygoing, willing to talk to people, willing to ask questions, that seems to be very successful. And so we have a lot of the same employees that you do: high school kids, college kids, people that don't have high income requirements, but they do want to learn. And we try to teach them that, express to them that we know that you're not going to be with us forever, but when you leave, we want you to leave with a skill set that you didn't have before, and I want you to leave on such good terms that I'm willing and I'm anxious to give you great recommendations for the rest of your life. I want you to reach out to me on LinkedIn or on the phone or however, so that I can give you great reviews for your next opportunity. It might be NASA, it might be radiology, it might be automotive engineering. I don't know, but I want to be able to give that review. So at the end of the day, it's about relating to people and learning to ask questions and listen to customers. And I think that's important. Part of that is being able to relax, being able to be laid back, and that comes with competence, and the competence comes with experience. So we really try to give everybody that works for us experience so that they can have a good time sharing with other people.
I mean, somebody that wants to work at a skate shop that can't skate yet probably wants to learn how to skate, right? But somebody that skates and thinks they want to work at a skate shop might not actually want to learn how to sell. And so you can find somebody at an inflection point in their life where you can develop real loyalty if you help them develop a skill at the same time expanding on a skill that they already have, I think.
But if you want to talk about the importance of that skill, just walk around this show and check out how many people are looking at their phones instead of talking to the people that are right in front of them. Right? I'm amazed sometimes when you go up and look at the booths, and the guy's in the booth looking at his phone, and I'm walking by. For all he knows, I could buy out his whole booth right now. Right? We need to, as a culture and as a society, get away from the phone and start learning how to talk to each other again and relate to each other again. And we're better to do that than on the floor of a retail store.
Right. So with that, I want to explain a little bit about Board Retailers again. I mentioned that we are a nonprofit, and you go to boardretailers.org to look us up. We've been around 22 years now, and we are here to help specialty retailer survive in business. And like I said, we've got all sorts of educational things. We got a lot of information about, like during COVID, we were teaching people how to renegotiate their leases, how to negotiate with their vendors on cutting back your deliveries and maybe getting some discounts on the late deliveries and such. We talk about, we offer discounts on insurance and shipping through third parties. We have great advice from some of our advisors on open to buy and inventory control, and how to hire and get rid of bad employees, but also we have people that are associated with us that help you with hiring the proper people to work at your store. So there's a lot of benefits to it. If you go to boardretailers.org, check us out. If not, come by and see Doug or myself at 260, right on the far end over here, and we can tell you all about it. And we got some free giveaways, and like I said, anybody that signed up during this seminar right now, we're going to be giving away some things later in the show, and we'll be here for all 3 days. So I appreciate you guys coming. Does anybody have any questions at all for us at this point? Yes. Okay, she's asking about how, what's a procedure you might use to help keep your employees off their cell phones? I can tell you right now, I had a rule at my stores. I got up to 5 stores at one time, and 2008 almost took me out. So now I have this one big place, but the rule was your phone had to be off and in the back. You couldn't even be in your pocket while you were working. That was my rule. But now with social media and all the Instagram and the rest of that, and you might shoot a video in the store of some kid just being goofy and then post that, and it gets a lot of likes. Now the rule is a little bit lax, but at one time it was just a flat out rule. You had to have your phone off and it had to be in the back room. I think it's my manager that laxed those rules as of this time. Any other ideas for you guys?
Most people put them in the they put it in the drawer, and they give them an interval where they can go and check their phone, because it is right now in California, where they're proposing legislation where they're going to remove phones from the schools completely. Right? There's actually legislation happening right now, and interestingly enough, the parents are pushing back on it, and they're going, well, what if I need to reach my kid? What if something's going on, right? Well, when guys like us went to school, what they did was they called the school. That's how they did it. It wasn't miraculous. So, but I think you gotta keep the phone away from them for a little while. You can lock it, and then you can put it in a drawer, and then give them a certain time where, okay, you can get on there and check and make sure nothing else is wrong. But during the time they're with you, they're supposed to be with you. And I think that's the time they need to be off their phones and talking to people. So just lock the phone away is my answer.
Yeah, just like the comedy shows, the only way to actually control it is to just put it out of sight.
That's exactly what we do. Our managers are able to hang on to their phones. Sometimes our primary number is ringing enough that it can be difficult for us to reach our shift manager. So we give the manager that opportunity to have the phone with them, but with a high trust level that they're going to be spending time working on our business initiatives and not their own personal side hustle. Everyone else is literally tucks it away in a drawer inside our shop. We have a big operation. In terms of real estate, we have about 300 square feet of store space, but I have about an acre of shoreline that we work with directly at one location and same at another. So we have to be focusing on our customers, not on taking video of our customers. So on that note, in terms of social media, I mean, we have done that in the past, where we've had people have maybe designated windows of opportunity where they can go out and shoot social media, but if it's just human nature, I do the same thing. If I'm not intentional about using social media for work, all of a sudden half an hour goes by and I've been caught in a black hole. So it's not just our employees, it's the boss as well. We've just got to do it.
I mean, can you imagine if we on this panel were like, yeah, listen, it's really great to be on the panel, and I really enjoy being with you guys and talking.
Hey, behave yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, he's right. So that's a key, and you just make it a rule. Make it a rule. Any other questions out here? Anybody got? Yes, sir.
Question for Joel. When talking about doing job postings and what is needed, what are some of, I guess, the biggest things that you should look at when it comes to the information in a job posting to make yourself attractive to prospects and to help with the engagement and to ensure that you get the right candidates? You talked a little bit about, like, make sure to have, the salary range and different stuff like that. What would you say are some of the biggest things to ensure a job posting has to make yours stand out?
Yeah, so I mean, the thing that everybody cares about is pay. A lot of places do not put the pay on a job posting. And honestly, even if your pay is low, I think that's a mistake, because if there are other companies that are doing it, they're just going to ignore your job posting. So I think you just have to put the pay on the post, number one. The other two things that are the most important to employees are health benefits and retirement benefits. So if you do have the ability to offer those in any shape, form, or fashion, put it on there. And then the next thing is focus on your culture. Like, talk about why it's a great place to be. We have clients in Colorado that have a pump track located right outside their bike shop, and employees get to go out when they're on break and send it for a few minutes, and that's awesome, right? There are other places that, like, I'm not sure if it was Marin Bikes maybe, that actually shuts down their company for an hour during lunch and they go on a group bike ride. If you think about what you can creatively offer employees, especially if it's at no cost. There's another bike shop in Wisconsin where the guy just so happens to have an apartment that's available, and so he offers his seasonal workers the ability to live there for free. Whatever you have to offer, think about what that is and try and find a way to include that as a creative benefit. And those are the kinds of things that are going to draw people in and make them look at the posting and probably get the right fit for the thing. So, yeah.
All right, well, I want to thank you guys all for coming and listening to us. I want to thank our great panel here. And we'll look forward to seeing you. We got another seminar tomorrow at 2 p.m. on the stage, or come by and see us at booth 260. Appreciate you guys coming by, and good luck in business.
If you didn't, go ahead.
Booth 260.
If you didn't already,
260, right over there.
if you didn't already opt into BRA Retail membership, do so. Thanks to supporting vendor partner TrackFly, we're actually offering our $100 distinguished retail membership during the show, absolutely free. So come by the booth and you'll be able to do that. Everybody that's already opted in, come up to the stage and we'll give away a couple of items right now.
Renewing my membership right now for next year. Thank you, TrackFly.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.